Welcome to episode 27 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history by 17 Law Sky. It's the night of November 27, 1916. On the northeast coast of England, the war has already come once by sea. German battle cruisers shelled Hartlepool in December 1914, killing over 100 people and reminding the town that front lines in the First World War aren't only in the field of Flanders. Now war comes again, this time from the air. High above the North Sea, a German Zeppelin, LZ-78, drifts in from the darkness. It's the side of a modern skyscraper laid on its side, an R-class rigid airship, hydrogen-filled, with a metal frame and a gondola slung beneath it, driven by Mercedes engines. It is not alone. 10 naval Zeppelins are out on this raid, split into groups for the northeast and the Midlands, to terrorize towns, disrupt industry, and break morale. On this night, one of those ships will drop a string of bombs that end up shattering a little football ground in West Hartlepool, the future Victoria Park, home of Hartlepools United. One stand will be destroyed, a handful of people will die. Today we're going to tell that story, why the Zeppelin was over Hartlepool in the first place, how a football stand ended up in the bomb site, and what happened to LZ-78 itself, and how this fits into the wider history of football grounds caught up in war, from Old Trafford to Upton Park, from London stocks to modern Ukraine. But before we get to the football ground, we need to understand why a Zeppelin would be anywhere near Hartlepool at all. By 1916, German airships raids over Britain are a regular, if still shocking, part of wartime life. The idea is simple. If artillery and machine guns are stuck in the mud on the Western Front, send airships over the North Sea instead, hit ports, shipyards, factories, and frighten civilians while you're at it. Hartlepool is exactly the sort of place that ends up on the map. A busy port on the Durham coast, shipbuilding and iron and steel nearby, railway lines and docks that plug the town into the wider industrial network of the northeast. So when the German Navy plans a major Zeppelin raid for the night of 27-28 of November 1916, they send one group of airships towards this coast. Among them is LZ-78, under Kapitänleutnant Max Dietrich, incidentally uncle of actress Marlene Dietrich. Around 11:30 p.m., LZ-78 crosses the coastline near Blackhall Rocks, just north of Hartlepool. Searchlights from inland pick her up, and one of those beams, at Elwick, west of Hartlepool, pins the airship in the sky. Dietrich reacted by doing what airship commanders often do when they are eliminated. He starts to drop bombs. Bombs fall near the Elwick searchlight and local farms, damaging telegraph lines, blowing a hole in a crossroad, and injuring 2 cows. At the same time, defenses are scrambling. From the aerodrome at Seaton Carew, a young South African-born pilot, Ian Pyott of No. 36 Squadron, gets airborne in a BE-2C biplane. He's flying in darkness, hunting LZ-78. Around 11:40 p.m., as the Zeppelin reaches the western edge of West Hartlepool, Dietrich starts dropping more bombs. Contemporary reconstructions suggest he's probably trying to lighten the ship and climb away from his pursuer. The more bombs you jettison, the higher you can get, and the harder it is for a slow biplane to reach you. Bombs fall beyond Hart Road onto allotments, a devastating salvo over tightly packed streets. Houses are wrecked, windows blown out, several people are killed and injured, and one bomb detonates at the football ground on Clarence Road, demolishing the stand. From the Zeppelin's point of view, this isn't a precise surgical strike on a football ground. It's a desperate attempt to unload bombs over a built-up area while escaping interception. The football ground was collateral damage within a wider, clumsy air raid, not a primary military objective. But for Hartlepools United and their supporters, the distinction doesn't matter. The stand is gone. In the air, Pyott lines up a second attack. This time, his bullets, including special incendiary rounds, find their mark. Hydrogen ignites. Witnesses say the Zeppelin becomes a fiery torch in the sky, visible for miles around the northeast coast. LZ-78 drifts, aflame, out over the sea and then plunges into the water off Hartlepool. All 20 men on board, including Dietrich, perish. The ground that would become Victoria Park began life as the Victoria Ground, used by West Hartlepool Rugby Club, then shared with Hartlepools United from 1908. By 1916, the stand along Clarence Road is the main structure on that side of the pitch. The bomb from LZ-78 destroys it completely. Hartlepools United do what lower league clubs have always done, patch things up as they best can. A temporary stand goes up in place of the destroyed one. That makeshift solution lasts not for a season or two, but for decades, all the way until the 1990s, When the Cyril Knowles stand, it finally built on that side of the ground. And what about reparations? Well, the club actually tries. They attempt to claim compensation from the German government for this destroyed stand and fail. No check in the mail, no rebuild funded from Berlin. The cost is ultimately absorbed locally, and the temporary botch becomes part of the club's lived reality. Hartlepool's story isn't unique. Football grounds, almost by definition, tend to sit in or near big industrial cities, railway lines, ports, exactly the sort of places that attract bombs. Here's a few examples. On March 11, 1941, during the Manchester Blitz, bombs aimed at Trafford Park's huge industrial estate, home to war production for aircraft and engines, fall on Old Trafford, Manchester United's ground. The stadium is wrecked, stands demolished, pitch torn up, and United are forced to share Manchester City's main road until 1949, while Old Trafford is rebuilt. The target in Germany's plans is Trafford Park. Old Trafford is collateral, the bomb-aiming equivalent of LZ-78 scatter over Hartlepool. In August 1944, a V-1 flying bomb lands on the southwest corner of West Ham's Boleyn ground, destroying much of the South Bank terrace and part of the main stand. West Ham have to play home matches elsewhere while repairs are made. Again, the wider East End, docks and railways are the real strategic targets. The stadium sits in the blast radius. Then Millwall's old den in New Cross, close to the Surrey commercial docks, suffers a direct hit in 1943. A bomb and subsequent fire destroy the main stand. Volunteers help rebuild it enough for football to resume. Other grounds, including Charlton's The Valley and several London industrial city stadia, sustain damage from bombs aimed at nearby docks, factories, or railways. But sadly, this isn't just a World War I or II story. In 2022, during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Chernihiv Stadium is heavily damaged by Russian shelling and airstrikes. Drone footage shows the pitch cratered and stand smashed. The city itself, including civilian infrastructure, is the military target. The stadium becomes another casualty of urban bombardment. Grounds in Donetsk and elsewhere in eastern Ukraine have also been damaged in the fighting since 2014, illustrating the same grim pattern. Football stadiums sit inside cities. When cities are bombed, the stadiums rarely escape. After World War I, Hartlepools United carry on at the Victoria Ground. The destroyed Clarence Road stand becomes part of club folklore. The temporary stand that replaces it stays in place for almost 80 years. Only in 1995 is a modern stand, later named after former manager Cyril Knowles, built on the bomb side of the ground. Supporters' memories and local stories keep the Zeppelin night alive. A plaque in Ward Jackson Park marks where one bomb fell. Museum fragments of LZ-78 with tags noting "brought down over Hartlepool, November 27, 1916, give physical weight to what might otherwise feel like legend. The irony is sharp. The airship that tried to terrorize the town ends up as a pile of rust on display. The little ground whose stand it destroyed is still there, still playing. Its ground renamed Victoria Park. Its terraces rebuilt and rebranded. Its history enriched by a night when global war and local football briefly intersected in the most literal possible way. That's all for episode 27 of OTD, the night a Zeppelin raid turned a modest stand at West Hartlepool into a tiny but unforgettable footnote in both wartime and football history. If you got memories, sources, or other stories of football grounds caught up in war, then email us at otd@17lawsky.com. Subscribe and leave a 5-star review so more football history nerds can find us. Tomorrow, we'll skip forward to 1964, the fastest hat trick in soccer history. 3 goals in just 90 seconds. Who scored it? How did it happen? And what does it feel when the scoreboard just can't keep up with you? Don't miss it.